Hello, everyone. This is Todd Brow with Senior Insurance Marketing, and excited today. Normally, we talk about insurance products and insurance companies and everything like that. Very important to know the latest and greatest about the different insurance products and companies, but also in order to promote those insurance companies and products to your clients, you need to have a website and also social media. So then both of those are very important. And April and Shannon from Transformation Marketing will show you how both the website and the social media tie in together. So without further ado, I'm just going to swing it over to Shannon and April from Transformation Marketing and tell us how a website and social media tie in together to help promote and increase an agent's
Yeah,
business.
absolutely. I don't know how many people are on this webinar. Maybe several of you have heard our Facebook talk and social media talk, but we do have that. I know Todd recorded it, so that might be something you want to look up a little bit, because we're going to spend a lot of the time today talking about websites in particular. So I am going to share my screen and let's see here. That's what I want to share. We can turn our camera on. Whoop. I just want to make sure you guys can see the presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see our the box of us in the corner or no?
Yep, we see you live, and also I see all the folks at Transformation.
Right. I'm trying to get us off the screen because it's blocking part of the.
Oh, okay. I just moved you to my screen.
We don't have a second screen where we're at right now.
No.
Oh, okay.
So I apologize, everyone. Give us just a second.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Can I? Okay. One sec, everyone. I apologize so much. What? Stop video? No. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. Okay, can you see us anymore, Todd?
Oh, yeah, I can see you, and I can see the screen.
Okay, perfect. So if we.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out. You still have us on. So you still have us on video?
Yeah, I do, and that's fine. I can.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just go with it. So. Okay. Okay. So.
Okay. Off we go. We're talking about websites. I have spoken to some of the agents through Senior Insurance Marketing, and I understand that there is probably a need for understanding the basics of a website. I know as a lot of businesses start out, they're like, I'm just going to make my site, be it a GoDaddy site or a Google site or a simple site, and that's a great place to start out. But there are some things that I wanted to bring to you guys today, whether you're going to make your own site or you want to take advantage of a program we put together for senior insurance marketing agents, and what goes into a good site, what visitors are going to be looking for, and just some elements that Google will require you to have. So we'll dive in here. April and I will take turns telling you a little bit about all of these pieces. If you have not seen one of our presentations, typically you see April, me, or Travis, but we are backed with a full team of talented individuals that can help you with any aspect of your marketing. We'll start with terrifying sites and sobering statistics. So April put some of this together. I'm gonna let her walk you through some of these slides.
Perfect. And I guess buyer beware. Some of these are, I consider them very terrifying. So here we go. This one in particular. So when we go to design a site, using stripes of rainbow, not a good idea. I mean, there's so much going on here. There's tons of color. The font is tiny. You can't read what's written. There's a random baby in the upper left-hand corner. I mean, there's just a lot going on. It's not streamlined. It's not professional looking. It's not anything other than a migraine waiting to happen, kind of. Another site is this site. Looks like it's promoting skincare products, maybe Inner Balance, Outer Beauty. I really don't know what's going on here either. You can't read anything. It's so cluttered. And
well, while these are extreme cases, I would say, looking at this site in particular being extreme, I have seen variances of this where things are added to a site over time. And then there comes a point in a site's life, you need to just look and say, wait a minute, this looks like it has been added on. And there's really no clear path for communication for the visitor. So extreme cases, yes, but those are some things that we look at. Is it streamlined? Do people know exactly where to go to get the information that they want? How do they communicate to you? And those things would be lost in a site like this.
yes. Something which we'll talk about a little bit later also, but sites like this were huge when the internet first started, because people were discovering all of the amazing things they could do with color and background and pattern and texture and everything else. This site would not translate well. Well, it barely translates well on a computer screen. It would not translate well at all on a mobile device. And that's a lot of what you're designing sites for as well. So with that in mind, we'll go to site number 3, which is a personal favorite of mine. Well, I guess there's 2 on here. So we've got Ling's Cars at the top. And as much as I love Paisley, I would probably not put it as a background on a website. Again, there's so much going on. I get that the idea was to be eye-catching and original, but we've gone very much past that. The site in the lower left-hand corner, it's like classifieds for the entire world. I don't know what it is. You can't read anything. You can't make anything out. It's terrifying.
So great fun to see extreme cases. Later in this presentation, we'll show you some before and afters of sites that maybe you have run across. But before we get to that, we wanted to kind of tell you some statistics. I like statistics. I know some people also like to know statistics, but it definitely does drive a point home. According to Adobe, 38% of people will stop engaging with a website if the content or layout is unattractive. Web has been very important for a lot of time, for a long time, but when we consider last year, a lot of communication, shopping, information came solely from websites. So that has intensified our expectations on websites as a society.
And it has intensified the frustration that people feel when they can't find what they want on a website nearly immediately. So
judgments on a company's credibility are 75% based on the company's website design. I know that I've had conversations with companies, they're like, what's the importance of a website? I say that that is the cornerstone of your marketing efforts, whether you're doing traditional ads, radio, TV, paid online ads, social media marketing. It should all draw them back to your website where the bulk of your information is communicated. So credibility of that website source is extremely important.
47% of website visitors check out a company's products or services page before looking at any other sections on their website. That's huge. And it really drives home the point that you need to have good, solid information about what you're offering, the service, the product, whatever the case may be, what your business is doing, what you're offering to people, and how it is of use to them. If people don't understand what you're saying or don't have a clue what the product is or anything like that, they will get frustrated and they'll leave. And you'll have to forgive me, I'm looking over at Shannon's stuff because she has written names on who's saying what. So I'm making sure I don't talk over the top of her. 44% of website visitors will leave a company's website if there's no contact information or phone number. This is a huge red flag for people. I get that it's something that's so easy to overlook, but it's definitely something that when we're designing a site, we always have in mind. You know, the phone number is visible, that it's a click to call number, that there's solid contact information on the website, including a mailing address if at all possible. People want to know where you're located, and then a contact form so that people can get a hold of you easily without having to do another step of opening their email.
I would say that that is particularly true in the segment of market that you are targeting with senior insurance products. While they are very technical in a lot of ways, they really do prefer to talk on the phone as well as some part of that sales process.
Mhm.
So allowing them contact information is going to be important to them.
All right. And then the very last one, 88% of online visitors and consumers are less likely to return to a site after a bad experience. That number's big and it's scary, and it's something that is good to know, because if your site is turning people off, if they're getting frustrated because it's difficult to navigate or difficult to look at, or because they can't find the information that they need, they will leave and go somewhere else and won't come back.
Yeah, so I look at this going, I bet a lot of you are like, hey, Shannon, what happens if my site offered a bad experience and I want people to come back? What that says to me as a marketer is that you have to invite them back. If we were to launch a new site for you guys, we would want to have you email your clients, say, hey, exciting, come check out our new website property that we've just launched. Your prospects, we want to tell them that you have more information, follow information we're putting out on our blog. We have more products to share, whatever it is that we have put in that new site, invite them to come see it. And like many of the discussions I've had with you, you guys, that you consider doing marketing, particularly this fall in the window of opening October through December. That would be a good time to have your site launched prior to that. So then your ads would go back to a new site.
So after all of these statistics, you might be wondering, why should I even bother with a website? Well, you should, and we promise it's not that difficult. A good website serves as kind of a centralized hub for all of your digital marketing efforts. It's a place to connect all of your social media accounts. So any social media that you're running, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever the case may be, all of those platforms can lead back to your website. You can have landing pages for that are dedicated just to either online or traditional marketing campaigns. So if you're running ads maybe on connected TV, or you're running ads on social media that are for a specific product targeted to a specific demographic or segment, it can bring them right back to a landing page that's specifically designed for that campaign, that has all the information that they would need right there, to make it as easy as possible for them to learn about your product or service.
Or even purchase. I know that we've done a site that literally you could click and sign up for a product. So where they would get a little bit of information and they wouldn't have to go through the whole site, and it just even makes it even more streamlined on those landing pages.
It's also an area for all of your original content, anything that's going to be engaging to people, for that to be housed. So the blogs that you write, any videos that you may have created that you've uploaded to YouTube, you can also have linked so people can watch them right on your website. They don't have to go elsewhere. But everything that you have is housed there in that one central place. And so blogs, photos, videos, etc. And then a good website lets you be open 24/7.
What I love about websites is it can work while you sleep. It can work while you're having meetings. It can provide content that you don't have enough hours in the day to tell everybody. So it works around the clock. It draws in new clients when it's convenient for them, where your ads are running even during your office hours. It will drive people to the website and given good content. Many of their questions could be answered right there, allowing your meetings to be more efficient. The website is like a front porch to your business, and we all know that curb appeal matters. So we want that to represent the effort that you put into your client relationships and the professionalism that you have in your product knowledge. So the website should mirror that. It allows you to communicate instantly. Like I mentioned, if we can answer a lot of their questions before they even call you, number one, it makes them feel better that they can ask educated questions and they can minimize their questions. So then they can really answer the tough questions in person if they have them. You can talk about their specific scenario, but they definitely have learned the general information on the product or service that they're looking for. And they'll do that through the goods and services page. One thing that we did not mention until now is the about page, the why behind your business. We talked about having the design and the content being very, very important. One piece of that content is the about page. It has grown in importance so much over the last 5 years, I would say, because consumers are wanting to know who they're doing business with. If it is a big company, they want to know what that big company stands for. If it is a small agency, they're going to say, Bob wrote my business. Bob is my agent and he helped me. They want to know who you are specifically and what drives you, who's your team, who helps them when they call in. So I would spend some definite time on the about page, the why, what motivates you to do what you do for them. And then of course, allow them to have a contact or a lead gen a lead gen button that they can get a hold of you. And when they do that, then you get to capture their information. If you can't reach them by phone right away, then you can put them in your email marketing. So you can capture that data and continue to be in front of them.
A good website can also help generate leads, like Shannon was talking about, and build trust. A site that's well designed, that's easy to navigate, really has the ability to pull in potential clients and keep them on your site and learning about you and your business. Another thing, in regards to the information you have on your site, if you can answer people's questions before they even know to ask them because you have such comprehensive information on your site, that's huge too. That goes a long way into the trust building relationship, just because you're being transparent, you're giving a lot of information, you're being educating, and you're putting it out there. You're not forcing people to physically come to you to draw that information out.
We put you in the expertise seat.
That's right.
So
that's right. And then a site that's easy to navigate, it provides accessibility or accessible information and descriptions, and it gives visitors a clear pathway to communicate with, and giving them a clear pathway to communicate with you just provides legitimacy to you, to your business. Again, like what I mentioned previously, people like to know that you're a real person. People are wary these days of scams, of fake companies, all of those things. So knowing where you're located, knowing who you are, all of those things provide a legitimacy to your business as well. And then Shannon will talk about what makes people not trust a website.
I'll put these all up on the screen because some of them we have talked about a little bit. We talked about physical contact, phone numbers, the about page. What I will say also about the about page is don't be camera shy. Put your picture there. It is really pretty remarkable that once they see you, then when they meet you in person, there is that connection. There is, they know exactly what you look like. If you have video that you can put on your about page that talks about why you do that, they can hear your voice. Those simple things really break down barriers. So do spend some time on that just to get their trust built up before they even meet you. Put photos of your team. Just say, hey guys, I know a lot of people don't like their picture taken, but this is so important to our clients and our future clients. The other thing is having client testimonials. You can say what you do really well, but when someone else says good things about you, it is worth its weight in gold. So ask for those testimonials so you can put them on your site. Say, hey, I'm just trying to help more people like you. And if you could share your experience with me, I'd love to put that on my website. So putting those up there helps them go, well, they were happy. I don't even know who Cindy in Cincinnati is, but they were super happy. And I want to be that happy with my experience too. Putting your business on social media as a step 2, that allows you to get recommendations and referrals, that virtual word of mouth. So really the savvy people will see your site, but then they'll also look at your social media profiles as well, because there's different communication that happens there. There's different review platforms within those social media entities. So I would definitely have a social media presence so you can experience that as well. And lastly, April slightly mentioned this earlier, is about having a mobile-friendly site. Many people, our smartphones are so important to us that a lot of people really primarily do their initial research using their smartphone because they're doing it while they're waiting at a doctor's office or while they're doing this or that. And then they might go on their desktop or laptop later, but making sure that your content is sizable automatically to all the different screen sizes, from iPads to the various phone sizes, is very, very important. If they have to scroll back and forth or they have to zoom in because they can't read it, they'll spend less time on your site. And I think the statistic is we have less than 10 seconds on a desktop to make an impression and probably far fewer on our smartphone. Mm-hmm. So that's super important.
And then I'm going to bump in really quick, just because I happened to be browsing something at midnight last night. It wasn't insurance, but it was a product. And even though the person selling the product was touting amazing things about it, I did spend a substantial amount of time reading the product reviews and ultimately opted to not purchase it because everyone was talking about how excited they were to get it and how much it failed their expectations. So it kept me from spending that money, which I'm sure made my husband happy. But reviews really are important. People really want to know about how others interacted with you, how you maybe made wrongs right, how you helped fix a situation for them, how you went above and beyond. All of those things are really important for people to know.
And the trust issues continue if you do not have a secured site. I don't know how many of you understand what an SSL certificate is, but it is something that you need to familiarize yourself with. When you look at a website and it has like a little padlock up in the URL bar, that means that it is secured. And if it is not secured with an SSL certificate, which are usually issued on an annual basis, you buy them, you will be greeted on a site that says your connection is not private. Some of them even look a little bit more alarming than this one does. So you just never want to associate a risk with your company. So an SSL is super important. Secondarily, if you do not have an SSL, Google will not serve up your site for a search query if your content even matches, because they want to only serve up secured sites. So it's very important that we have those secured with an SSL.
Yep. And messages like this about attackers might be trying to steal your information is very, I mean, it's alarming to all demographics. It is very, very scary to certain demographics, especially some of your older clients.
Yeah, they've been told that they are targets of scams. So that would be very alarming to them. So we want to, not have that barrier for
Right,
them.
right. Okay, a few other items. So Shannon kind of touched on this earlier. The last year and a half now have presented us with a lot of scenarios that most of us never thought that we would be partaking in. Being locked at home for months on end because everything is closed. People who never worked from home previously were then working from home all the time because they weren't going to the office. It has created a huge, huge, huge paradigm shift, for better or for worse, in how people do all of their business. Individuals across all age groups are relying on the internet for everything now. Literally everything: shopping, news, recipes, pictures of their grandkids. People who were never on Facebook before are now on Facebook because that's the only connection with other people that they have. And just a fun fact, it takes on average 66 days for a new habit to stick. We've had COVID and quarantines and lockdowns around for much longer than 66 days, which means people have gotten in that routine of going online to find what they need and are probably not going to revert back. So just another reason to have a good website and all of the things we've talked about so far in terms of being easy to contact and good information and everything. Just one more reason why it's more important than ever to have those items.
So what makes a good website? We talk about navigation, and I want to kind of bring that up a little bit more. When we talk about navigation, we talk about the menu bar and the information, how you get to it. So we will have some examples here of websites coming up, but if you've ever been on those navigations where you hover and then you have to click and then you have to go down and click that final selection, for an aging demographic, that is very difficult to do, to make sure your mouse control is such that they get to where they want. So when we consider, just really websites for any demographic, but particularly the senior market, we want to make sure that the navigation is one click per level, so they don't have to chase that hover state. We also do a lot of navigation with icons. So when they see the picture, they can click on it. There's several ways to get to the same piece of information. So if they happen to miss one and click on another, they can still get to it. So they never feel like there was only one right answer and they kept missing it. So we try and make that very, very clear in the buttons that we use and the type of drop-down menus, if we even have to have drop-down menus, just especially for that age demographic. So those are some things that we talk about specific with navigation. And when we start a website, that is one of the first things that we lay out, so we know how the site is going to operate before we put any pretty design to it.
Mm-hmm. And I will toss in there real quick. We redid a site for a client a year and a half ago, maybe. And their site had very confusing navigation initially. It was one of those sites where things were continuously being added on and the end user wasn't really being considered, because you would navigate to a page and then there would be really important links that people would need that were only contained on that page. There was no way to find them anywhere else. And it was frustrating for us just going through the site, trying to streamline it and pare it down and figure out how we were going to redo all of the information. So I can't imagine how frustrating it had to have been for the average user who was maybe trying to find information and knew that they saw it at one point in time, but then could never locate it again. So just something else to keep in mind. Something we also talk about a lot is using a clean layout and design. As we saw previously, chaotic layouts are distracting. Your eye is going everywhere except to the information that you want people to see, and we don't want that. Sites that incorporate a lot of colors and photos and design elements have a tendency to look spammy, is how we refer to them. And I don't know if you remember the Paisley site, lingscars.com. You don't want to be like Ling. So
I would even go a little bit to say that chaotic, I don't know if you've ever been on a site where you have a main nav, be it horizontal or vertical, but then when you get on the page, there's a second navigation that appears, or a third. That gets really confusing to people. So just do the KISS method, keep it simple. Just keep it simple.
Keep it simple, yes. And that's another thing that we were discussing the other day was multiple navigations. And I actually wound up talking with my dad about it. And I talked to him about it last night. Actually, he was on a tablet and a secondary navigation wasn't set up correctly. So it was covering a good chunk of the information. He called me because he knows I work on websites, and apparently he thinks I work on every website in the world. So he called me with this frustration. I could not assist him, but just some things to keep in mind that we are always keeping in mind as we're creating sites, designing sites, those types of things.
Speaking to the customer, also, we've talked a lot about visual, we've talked about navigation. This slide here is just talking about the written content. That is something that our agency does, and I think that that is probably the element that is the least desirable for all of our clients to endure. They're like, do we have to write the content? I just don't know what I want to say. I'm really good at speaking with people in meetings, but writing that content, I just don't even know how much is too much, too little. How do I word it? So that is something that our agency can help with as well. On our sites, we do write the content. So we'll grab information from you guys, be it, maybe it's a presentation you had, maybe it's a brochure, maybe it's your current site, and then we retune that content. And what we aim for, which is really kind of a little easy for us because we aren't in the trenches of selling insurance, it's very easy for us not to get too technical. So we can write from a consumer standpoint going, this makes sense to me, not being the one who sells it or has to write up the documents and read and go through that. This makes sense to me. This is enough information that would make me want to click to ask more, and I can understand it. And it also doesn't simplify it too much that I can get enough understanding that I can go, these are my top 2 that I have questions on. Now let's make a meeting. So that is something to consider too, is the written content.
And then along with that, you want to make sure to include the right information and the right amount of information. Don't bog people down with extremely long descriptions on your services and products page. People don't want to scroll forever. And that's a fine line. And that's, again, kind of where we come in with writing content and getting it down to those right size amounts that are enough to provide clear and concise information, but not massively over the top where people feel like they have to devote a chunk of time to reading about whatever good or service or product it is that you have. Make sure your content is original. Do not copy and paste from another source. That's a red flag to Google. They see it as stealing content. If you really feel the need to, you think I cannot say this any differently, then the source needs to be noted. So if you're pulling information from a particular insurance website, then it needs to be quoted, it needs to be noted that it's coming directly from them. And then include information about you and your company. We've talked about this a couple times, we've touched on it, but people want to know about you. They want to know that you're real. They want to know your likes and dislikes. They want to know all sorts of things, where you went to school,
Mhm.
what your hobbies are, those types of things.
And one of the other things that they may like to know, think about what you do as a process. Maybe it's communicating the simple process. We have a meeting, we answer questions, and you can be signed up within 15 minutes or less. Like the Geico, they came up with a process. And what is it that you offer that makes you efficient and makes you a professional? Think about those things. Those are great things to put on your website, because those are things that others really can't copy and paste because they're specific to how you do business.
Mhm. Oh, and also blog.
Yeah, so we get questions about that blogging. They're like, I don't want to blog. I don't want to write content. Hire it out. There's companies like us. I think we write probably 60 blogs a month-ish, with content and blogs. So there's companies that can write blogs. The importance about blogs is, number one, it gives you fresh content, and Google likes to know that your website is being updated. That is the most simple way you can update it. It also, blogs are written typically in a manner that satisfies a search query. So reasons to look, or reasons to consider Medicare Advantage. And so your blog very well may be titled that exact same thing. So it gives you an opportunity to have your site be served up, because it will answer that query. All of those things are really good. People then always ask us, like, how much do I need to blog? I would say consistency is more important than quantity. So if you set out that I'm going to put out a blog a month, that is a really good place to start. That blog not only lives on your website, but it can also be used in email marketing. You've already got content for your email blast. That's what we do as a company. So every Tuesday, our emails go out, and it will feature 1 to 3 of our blog categories, and then it drives them back to the site to read the full blog. Other than that, I know people's life is too busy. They aren't going to be like, oh, I wonder what Shannon put out on a blog this week. They won't do that. But
I wonder that.
I wonder it sometimes too. But we put out a blog, and then we invite them through email and social media to come read the rest. And then I do get comments, not on the blog, but I'll get comments on the post going, gosh, this is so timely. I just had this conversation with someone else. So that is the importance of a blog.
And along the lines of Shannon talking about email marketing, it's another way to, when you send posts like that, blogs like that through an email to your clients, it's a great way to gently remind them about your presence and draw them back to your website and allow them to consume the information on their time.
Yeah, so I had a client, we did business maybe 8 years ago, and I saw that in my email marketing, she always opened up our email. I'm like, well, this is interesting that Becky's still following that. I am glad to hear that. And their process changed, and they said, we've seen that you do a lot, because our first work with them was more on radio planning and placement in the Midwest region. We can still do that. That's where we were founded, in traditional media, but the past several years, we do online marketing primarily. And so their shift had happened in their company. They're like, well, you had a shift too. We liked working with you. And now it looks like maybe our goals are aligned again. And they reached out to us. So it is very important to stay in front of them, that it might not be a click and buy right now, but it's like they're doing stuff. And when that aligns, you've been in front of them all that time.
Mm-hmm.
So landing pages, I did have a discussion with a gentleman the other day, and he goes, I really am kind of a part-time agent, and I don't have a website, and I'm wondering how I want to navigate all of this. And he's picked one product that he's selling. He's at a different stage. And I said, I really think that a landing page might be a perfect solution for you, because he wants to put out some online ads and he has some print ads that he's put in specific places that are working for him. And I said, well, draw them back where maybe it's not a whole site. Maybe it's a little blurb about the agent, because they want to know who they're doing business with, a little education on the product, and a click. So they have something to do, and you can still capture their information, be it an email or a phone number. So we talked about those being very useful, so he could still put a campaign together, either in print or online, and have one place for them to go without building out a whole entire website. So that's an option as well.
And then analytics. You may hear people talk about analytics and not have any idea what they are, and that's totally okay. It's a kind of a back end thing. It's something we install on the website. We use Google Analytics for all of our clients as just a standard of what we do. And it collects any and every kind of data, by and large, that you could be interested in. So where your traffic is coming from, what visitors are doing once they get to your site. Are they landing there and then leaving right away? Are they navigating to the blog? Are they hanging out on the services page for a long time? It'll let you know those types of information. Your most popular pages. If we've got several clients who some of their most popular pages are blogs. People look at their services page, and then their blogs are routinely coming up in search results. Mm-hmm. So that's always great to see. You can see your visitor demographics. You can see male, female, you can see ages, you can see where they're located. If they're all in Nebraska, or they're all throughout the Midwest, or, gee, I've got this weird pocket of people in Seattle that are on my site a lot. It lets you know that and can help you make more educated decisions about additional items that you may want to put on your site, or additional areas of business that you may want to explore in the future. Then
you can tell if they come off a phone. You can tell if they're reaching you on an iPad, on a desktop. That's kind of interesting to know. So if you have a site that is not mobile friendly and you are on the fence going, do I want to invest in another site? Put analytics on your current site and see where people are trying to reach your information from. That might help you make the decision. I also really like that it'll tell you who your referring sites are. So if you're like, is social media really referring business back to my website? It will show up in analytics. It will tell you that Facebook a lot of times is one of our leading sources back to the website for our clients. So it's fun to see that. It does help you kind of have some information to be at peace with where you're spending your efforts or your money for marketing. And one thing that we didn't put on here is Google Analytics. All of that stuff we've talked about is a completely free tool.
Yes.
So you do not have to buy it. There's no subscription or monthly fees. So we can put it on the website and you have access to all that information. Or your marketing agency could have access to that information. It doesn't cost you anything to do that.
Correct. And with our clients, like Shannon said, we do install it on all of our sites. We use it across the board, and then we will analyze the data on a monthly basis and provide it back to our clients as well. We have some people who want to get in themselves and look at all that information, and that is fantastic if that's your thing. Lots of people don't have time. They want to know, the top 5 places people are coming from, how many are new versus returning visitors, where are my clients coming from, where are my visitors coming from, and we can assemble all that information and get it to them, so they don't have to dig through it all.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then a little bit of inspiration for you.
This is my favorite part, I will tell you. This just kind of puts everything that we've talked about in the last half hour or so into play visually. So I have a few examples here that I put together of old designs and then the new designs. I know they are a little bit small, and Todd can decide how he wants to share this information so you can maybe see it a little bit more up close. But I want to talk about, what does this look like at play? So on the right side of the screen, you'll see the old design for this particular client. They are in the medical field, so we would not necessarily select having such a dark color palette to their design. And then underneath their pictures, I point like you can see my finger, but underneath their pictures are these stacked bars that navigated to things, but they weren't very engaging or inviting for them to go to that. And that was their products or their services page, more likely of what do they do? Do they see skin cancer, mold checks, and all these other things? But you don't really see that visually. So on the left side of the screen, you'll see the new design. We did put a location picture up in the header. They do have a very interesting design to their new location. So you see what that white building looks like. When you drive by, you will know, oh, that's where I need to go. You'll see in the dark bar underneath that, it will have their contact information. You'll see the map to their location, and you can scroll to all their satellite clinics. You're going to see the doctor profiles and their staff in that midsection. And then where those old bars were before, you see custom icons that talk about core areas of service that they see patients for. So you can navigate through icons there as well as the main nav. So those are some of the things that we've talked about through the presentation. And you'll also see their top blogs, meaning the most recent blogs, are also featured on their homepage. And in the footer, there's a contact form. So if they don't get any further than their homepage of their website, they have a really broad understanding of what they see, where they're at, how to contact them, and some information. They can navigate that all off of the homepage.
Are you doing all of these?
Some of them, I think.
Okay.
This is another, and I picked sites that were cross-industry because we do sites across industry, but I hope that you can parallel the approach to your organization as well. So the old site, again, on the right, it had some top navigation, it had some side navigation. You can see in the far right, there was some product imagery, but there was no written content next to it. So I don't know what we do with that. This particular company shifted from selling product to training on it in a pretty bold way. So they said, this is a time that we need to put a new site together. So you'll see, again, there's contact information right underneath their main header image. We have some icon navigation below that. It was really important that they're family owned. I mean, that was a big part of their business and a big part of their company culture. You see the gray image. We were waiting for those little camera shy people to give us a picture at the point that I put this up there, but we'll have a family picture on that main page. And then you can see the difference between the product that had an image and then there's some content right beside it. So you don't have to guess at what you're supposed to do there. So we try and make that, oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. Finish what you're saying.
No, try and just make it very, very simple for the visitor to see first off going, oh, I can learn more. Here's a little blurb about this particular product. And now I can go to that actual page and learn a lot more.
And something else you'll notice as we continue to go through these sites, which is not always, but lots of the sites were very dark and had all of the information, just kind of all of it just right there, not broken up at all. If you look at the new site designs, much of what we do is broken up into smaller, easier to read, easier to digest sections.
Yeah, that's very true. Because then you can mentally go, oh, okay, here's their services. This is about the company. This is about the product. You're mentally cueing them that the information served to them has changed.
Yes. Here's another site that we are getting ready to launch. The old site design is on the right, just like the other couple screens. And this, what's on the right was their website. That's it. Nothing else. It looks like you should maybe be able to click on stuff to learn about people, but no.
The only thing you could do is click and pay.
Yeah, you could click and pay.
Yeah.
But that was it. And when they came to us, it was kind of we're really not sure what to do. Like, we know we need this information.
Mhm.
We need it pretty. We need it elegant. We need it sorted out, but we don't
Mhm.
know where to go.
They didn't even have a logo. This was so fun because
Yes.
they were so excited. They were so excited because they had added some new doctors to the practice.
Mhm.
And so the new doctor's like, we really need this.
Yeah.
So the originating doctor's wife who's involved in the practice is like, this is what
Okay.
we had, but we need better, but I
Yeah.
don't know what better is. So that was a lot of fun to
Yeah.
go through that. But
It
you can
was.
see like contact and location was probably the largest we've ever made it on a site.
Yes.
But that was really important because one of the doctors actually sees a lot of older patients.
Mhm.
So they wanted that to be really important. And they didn't have a lot of content in and of itself.
Right.
And I think that will grow over time. So you can see that we still made the site look robust
Mhm.
with some imagery and some illustrations in the middle was illustrations. And they got a logo too. So that
They
was
did
kind
get
of
a
fun.
logo. And we did, for the very first time, very first time for them as the client, we went out, we did headshots of all their staff so that they could have, like it or not for the staff, so they could have their pictures and bios on the website. Because again, people get nervous when they haven't seen a new provider before and they want to know who they're seeing, what they look like, information about them. And that goes across all industries, but it does just make people feel more comfortable and like they
Medical
know
and
you.
financial, those are big things. And
Yeah.
I would put insurance under financial as well.
Yes, so would I. Here is another one another site that we recently just launched. Again, the old design is on the right, new design is on the left, and it follows the same theme. It's segmented. It has it uses some imagery, some icons, some illustrations, but it's cleaner. It's more easy to digest and read. The site on the right has multiple columns of information going across, and that makes it very difficult and very cluttered sometimes for people to it becomes too much too easily.
And so we put their pictures front and center too. Curtis and Katie, they are a husband and wife chiropractic team. So again, much like insurance or much like banking and things like that, you do business with the person. So we put them on the homepage very high up. And then all the other illustrations, those cartoony looks, that's an illustrated version of design. So we use illustrations with their stuff a lot.
Mhm. All right.
All right. And I think we have just a few more here. This one, again, we talk about where does the eye go. On the right, there's a lot of different misaligned, randomly aligned content. The header image does have a fade, but that text in there is a little bit hard to read. So again, you'll see that the theme is segmenting, having some visual icons and cues for navigation, and making those clear and easy to read.
Yes.
So you're kind of getting the theme. This one, I think I put my name on it. I really like this one. This site, I will fess up, that old site we did 12 years ago. I think it was 11 or 12 years ago, and they came to us and they said, we really need a new site. I'm like, yes, I do believe that's true. A lot has happened in 12 years. But when we talk about navigation, putting forth what's important to the consumer, this one is a funeral home and cemetery website. And what do you go there for? Most often it's going to be obituaries and pre-planning services. So those images of people right there, this was in our pre-launch. So it was funny because the funeral director goes, can we just leave stock photos on there? That looks so perfect. And I'm like, well, we don't live in a perfect world, but you can click right on the obituaries, which is hugely important for this website. So understanding what people are going to go to your site for allows us to bring that to the forefront. And this one's super fun. So this is an insurance site that we did after we did our Facebook ad. We were reached out by Kurt and Marissa Fricky. So their site is now launched. Their old site is on the right, and their new site design. So it doesn't get any closer to examples for you
Nope.
than this. So again, you'll see the segment. You'll see that we use their logo in a more prominent way. We use some stock imagery and some illustrations in the design, making that very clear to navigate. You can go check out their site live. One of the things that I will say, Marissa was so kind to say great words about it. She's very excited about how the site looks. It looks fantastic. And she does not doubt that someone, when coming along now compared to before, would not be turned away nearly as fast as in the old one. With the up and coming group of seniors, they are becoming more and more technology inclined and more likely to research the agents in the company before making decisions. So this website will be a huge tool as we go along with time. Transformation was very helpful to bring our site into the new age. We were always there for them. So thank you, Kurt and Marissa. I don't know, Kurt's on vacation, I think. Marissa may be on the call, I'm not sure. But thank you for the super kind words, but we would love to help you as well, just like we helped Kurt and Marissa.
And I'll toss in really, really quick, just as we've been talking about these things and looking through these new sites and old sites, thinking about most recently working with this site and with Marissa. Through each stage of the process, we communicate with the client, we go back and we do our work, and then we communicate with the client again. So we talk to them about what's important, what they want to see on the site. We create the navigation, and then we go back with them and say, this is our proposed navigation. How does this look to you? And then we can, once that's approved, we can build the site out from there, and then we can give them templates of this is what the pages will look like. So it's a very collaborative process, and we try and take all the heavy lifting off.
Absolutely.
So that you don't have to do a ton of work, but you get a very functional and beautiful site at the end.
Because if you love this, you would do our job. We want to free your time up to do your job.
Exactly.
So that said, only for senior insurance marketing agents do we put this program together. We worked with this, put it in front of Todd, and I said, I think this is something that we can really offer your people. So we do have a website plan. We will build a website template, if you will, and you'll see the same themes of segmented content areas. You'll have a home page, an about page, service and products page, a blog if you're going to blog. That can be an optional feature. It doesn't cost you any more or less. And certainly a contact us page. Your site would be responsive across all screen sizes, which is super important. We will have the analytics installed and you will have access to that. If you choose to never log in, that's fine, but it is there. So at any moment in time you want to log in or need someone to log in, all that historical data will be there. And then we do provide the hosting and that important SSL certificate that we talked about earlier. We put this back onto a 24-month contract just because it broke out the payments. I found that budgeting purposes, it fit more sizes of agencies, I think. So it breaks out to $225 a month if you want to supply the written content. If you want us to write it, it's $250 a month. And we take, like I said, the hosting, the analytics, the SSL, and all the content and the design is really on us. Of course, we would ask for a little assistance on particularly the About Us section because we need to learn about you to write about you, but it makes it super, super simple and easy. So if this is something that has been on your marketing to-do list, this might be a really good time to do this. And I know that you have a window of opening certain products, so we can time that out and get this launched before that time so they can all come and see your new site and your new content. And I guess, Todd, we can open it up if people have questions. If they've typed questions in, we're only seeing a full screen, so we don't see those, but we'd be glad to answer anything that's out there.
Definitely. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put it in the Q&A box, and April and Shannon would be happy to answer the questions for you. But again, having a website and also social media, they complement each other. And basically, like Shannon and April said earlier, your business is open 24/7 with a website. So it's a great way for them to your clients or prospective clients to go to the website. And also, as AEP season, it's hard to believe that next week is the end of July already. That's hard to believe. And then the 1st of August is like in a couple weeks. So what that means is that AEP season, as we all know, is going to be starting in October and goes through December. So, contact Shannon and April at Transformation Marketing, 402-788-2896. And they can get you going before AEP season. Again, you need some, they need some lead time as well too. So I would definitely contact them today to start the ball rolling going forward for a website and also social media as well too. This webinar is going to be recorded, and also our other webinar with Shannon has been recorded as well too, and is on our website talking about social media. So have a question here. What app should we use to create or design a website? Is the question here.
What app? Well, there's a lot out there. I will say, after talking to clients, there's a lot of build your own sites.
Mm-hmm.
They always tend to underestimate the time that it's going to take to build something that they actually have envisioned for their website. And usually they'll spend a good 20, 30, 40 hours and go, okay, I am over this already. So I can't really necessarily endorse one over the other. I would say hearing people come back, even watching my daughter launch her own business. We built her one site. She built another site on her own. And she goes, Mom, I got to make money. I am never going to do this again on my own. It just took her a long time to get what she wanted to come to be. She spent a lot of time on support and on hold, that sort of thing. But there are platforms you can certainly try out. I mean, there's Wix, there's One-on-One. I think GoDaddy has a platform builder. Squarespace, maybe, I think, has one. But there's a lot of build it your own sites. I would just, if that's the way that you want to go, I would definitely have your content at the ready. Again, follow the same process to have your navigation, and you're going to have to carve out quite a bit of time. We're working with someone now that had created their site off of Google Sites, and he just wanted to put a link. He wanted to put a link to Better Business Bureau, and it wasn't showing up right, and the icon wasn't showing up, and it wasn't linking right. And he goes, I think a 10-minute thing turns into a 2-hour, and then at the end I still don't have exactly what I want. So that would be my suggestion to you, is just manage your expectations, spend some time, and maybe just even think about, is this where I really want to spend my time? But there are platforms out there, but it might be simpler just to let someone else do it.
Yeah, and basically, I think I'm kind of going to piggyback off what you just got through saying too, Shannon. It's like, where do you want to spend your time?
Right.
I mean, an agent's skill set is, visiting with clients, trying, to help them out with a Medicare supplement, cancer, heart attack, stroke, life annuity. And so basically helping clients out and, making that sale will help pay for Shannon and April Transformation, the team, to make your website, up to date, and your social media and everything like that. So you can spend more time visiting with your clients, which that's basically, an agent's skill set is visiting with clients and building up that relationship. And your guys' skill set is to build websites and social media and kind of alleviate that burden from the agent and help them out with it. Kind of like you just said with your daughter, building,
Yeah.
her website and everything like that. So it does take time. And, you think, you've got that kind of a simple website build up and everything like that, but it's also having that fresh content and that continuous, what I call maintenance that needs to be done, on your website, on your social media. That takes time, and sometimes you can go like, oh my, I spent 5 hours doing this, and I could have had transformation do it, and I could have been visiting with 3 different clients. So yeah.
Well, you get $250 a month. And I look at if you were to do it yourself outside of the time you would spend, you're still going to have a hosting cost and you're going to have an SSL cost.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have updates just in the platform. Typically needs to be updated. Like we build on WordPress. They come out with security updates. We take care of all of that for you. So you look at that, go, how many clients? Maybe 2 meetings. And so I know that we would free up more than 2 meetings time for you. So I just would highly suggest you consider that, just because I think you'll reap the rewards in time spent with how you make your money and close your sales and quicker.
And also too, just like the last example you've shown of the Frickies, where you took their website and made it a lot cleaner and a lot appeasing to the eye as well too. So yeah, just always, again, I call it, maintenance to your website and social media. It's, it's a constant thing. It's kind of like, do you get your car oil changed and repaired? Do you do it yourself, or do you take it to a mechanic so you can do other things? Yeah. I know my book is kind of the same analogy. So
Right.
Good.
Are there any other questions?
I don't see any other questions. But again, what's the best way to contact you guys?
Yeah, I mean, you can go to our site at transformationmarketing.com, and from there, I can assure you, you will see all our social media platforms. You can communicate with us there, our phone number, an email address. There's a contact form. If that makes it simple, just to remember to go to transformationmarketing.com. Usually those emails come straight to me, so it's not a stranger. So I will be seeing you in the digital sense, and I can certainly answer your specific questions.
And also, if I remember right, when you go onto the website, you can also sign up for your weekly emails. Is that right?
Yeah, there is a sign up. I believe it's down in the footer.
Mm-hmm.
And so we send out information on marketing every Tuesday, and then content on our social media is a continual, but that would be super great if you just want to learn a little bit more along the way. We are a very content rich company, so we share it forward in a lot of ways.
Great. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for your time. Thanks for letting us know, about your services, and also the importance of a website and how a website and social media work hand in hand together as well too. So thanks again, Shannon and April. I really appreciate it. And, if you have any questions, give us a call here at Senior Insurance Marketing. Our number is 877-800-3080, and we'll be happy to help you out. Or go to our website, because Transformation helped us redesign our website as well too, and that is www.simkt.com. And go onto our website. We got the free quoting tools, our past videos, also our podcasts are on there, plus a lot of other new products coming out from different companies, and it's just a good place to go to be up to date with what's coming out for products and companies and everything like that. So I appreciate everyone's time today. Take care and give us a call, because we are here to help you grow your business. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.